is Sherilyn Gan, and I'm a junior studying at Yongsan International School of Seoul. And in this video, I'm basically going to be teaching you about the major parts of the computer. I'll be talking to you about the main parts such as the RAM and the ROM and the PCI and all the different ports and how they affect the operation of your computer, so that you can get a better understanding about how your computer works and get excited about the different parts of your computer. So I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you. We will now begin our journey through the different parts of the motherboard. The first part we're going to look at is called the PCI, which is also known as the Peripheral Component Interconnect. That is a newer expanded slot or bus in which you will put in your network, modem, and sound card, and that is found right here with the white slots that you see. The older version of this is called the ISA, the Industry Standard Architecture. It's slower and it's outdated, and that is where you would put in your old peripheral device cards. It is not shown on this motherboard, however, it is found on the older computers. We also have the ROM, which are these two black chips you see over here, and they store the permanent data that are installed by the manufacturer, that has the firmware, the programs that are needed to direct the electronic devices, and it also has the BIOS, which is a basic input and output system, which has the computer's startup instructions. Next we have the battery, which is a circular round silver thing over here. It preserves the computer's time and the BIOS settings while the computer is turned off. The IDE port, which is found over here, is this known as the Integrated Drive Electronics, and it is the standard interface for connecting storage devices inside the CPU. The power connector is over here and looks like a honeycomb. It basically carries electrical power from the power supply to the motherboard. The RAM is the random access memory, which is over here. It is a memory location in which you would store your programs, data, so that the processor can reach it easily. The AGP is the accelerated graphics port. It is not on this motherboard, however, it could be replaced with the PCI, and the AGP is designed to improve the speed of graphics and video. And other basic ports that would be found on the motherboard would be sound, USB, and parallel ports, and they would be found on the back of your computer server. And if I turn this around, you would be able to see these various ports, such as your microphone, your audio and line in. You have your USB ports, parallel ports, serial ports, and all that on the back of your computer. So those are the parts of the motherboard. So for the next part of this video, I'm going to be talking to you about what happens inside a computer when you turn it on. Basically, you press the power switch to turn on your computer, press the power button, and it sends a signal to the power supply to give power to the motherboard. I'm going to turn the server so that you can actually see the inside of it. Now, once the power supply has gotten the power it needs, it sends the power to the motherboard using these cables or the power connector. And this gives the motherboard the power and that it needs to operate. Next, the fan will turn on, and this fan will help cool the motherboard so that the motherboard does not get overheated. Now, we learned earlier about the ROM, which is called the read-only memory. This is where the BIOS, the basic input and output system, is found. It's in these two chips right here, the ROM. And it has the startup instructions for the computer. It basically checks all the computer's programs and makes sure that everything is working accordingly the way it should work. Now, this next part of the step is called booting up the computer, and it basically means turning on or loading up the OS, the operating system. The operating system is found in your RAM, the random access memory, and it's in this slot right here. And it basically connects different parts of the computer together. It helps it communicate with each other better, and it's most importantly helps the user communicate with the motherboard. So this is basically how your computer works when you press the on button. Alright, so once you've got your computer turned on, you're going to use the programs on your computer, right? So you're going to want to open up a program, let's say for example Microsoft Word, to type up a paper that you need to write for school, for class, and you open up Microsoft Word. Now what happens when you open up Microsoft Word? Well, your computer has programs stored in the RAM, or the random access memory, and that is the memory location where programs and files and all that will be stored. And that is found right over here in this slim slot right here. And your computer's processor will basically go to the RAM and also the hard disk. The hard disk also stores information, just in a more permanent sense, whereas the RAM is temporary saving location. So your computer's processor will get the program from the RAM and from the hard disk. It will pull that up, and the operating system, which is also found in the RAM, will help with communication between the motherboard, the processor, the power supply, and the user and all that, to ensure that everything gets done. Now the AGP, which there isn't one here, but it could be substituted with a PCI, the Peripheral Component Interconnect, could be substituted with one of these slots. And the AGP is the Accelerated Graphics Port, which basically helps to display what needs to be seen on the computer screen, so that the user knows exactly, what is going on in the computer, and so that Microsoft Word can open up for the user to actually use. Now, after you have typed up your entire paper, you're going to want to save it, because you might have to edit it later and you just want to be able to retrieve that. So the OS, the operating system, sends a save prompt on the screen and asks you, do you want to save before you exit Microsoft Word? And of course you would say, yes, I want to save it. And you would save it, and what happens is the computer will save what you have to the hard disk as well as the RAM. And it's stored there so that your computer's processor can retrieve it later when you need to get it out to edit your paper, for example, and it will be able to retrieve it a lot faster. So that is basically how you open up a program and how you save one of your papers. This brings us to the end of my video. I just want to thank you for embarking on this journey with me through the computer and the different parts, and I really do hope that you have learned something from this. And I pray that this has somehow been a blessing to you. Thank you.